Hello and welcome to Rantcast number 4, Check Your Goddamn Facts. This was inspired by someone sitting on the train behind me spouting the usual moon landing is fake drivel and just parroting something which they happened to see and not pay too much attention to. And this video is late. I meant to do a video on Thursday, but I had absolutely no idea what to do. It wasn't until yesterday, which was a Saturday, that I came up with this idea, and now I'm making the video. I did try 3 times on Thursday to record a video, but I wasn't happy with anything I came up with, so I decided to wait until I had something better. This video is all about proper ways to look at the data you're given and come to reasoned conclusions about it. I am a very big fan of debating or arguing a point so that when I'm done with the argument I'm actually in a better position to make a decision about it. And it really annoys me when I meet people, particularly conspiracy theorists, who don't have all the facts. They take a look at a very small amount of data which supports exactly what they want to see, and they present it as a complete fact. And if anyone tries to say any differently, they'll just tout out the whole "your mind is closed, you just see what the government wants you to see" type thing. And so I wanted to make this video. I wanted to hopefully help people make up decisions in a well thought out way, and to do that I will provide some tips on how to look at data objectively. The first thing to look at is the logical fallacies, which a lot of people don't know about, and it comes up a lot in various debates where someone uses one of these logical fallacies. I will link to a complete list in the description, but some ones that are particularly relevant are appeal to authority, which is where someone who is an authority on a particular subject says something and it is taken as fact without being kind of peer reviewed or independently reviewed, which it could be wrong. Even if someone is the top of their field, they can still be wrong, and so it's important to look at what they're saying rather than who is saying it. Correlation versus causality is another one, which is when someone claims that 2 events are linked just because they happen to have similar data patterns, which isn't always the case. They could be an underlying reason behind both of them, which means that they're not linked themselves, or it could just be complete coincidence. Anecdotal fallacy is another one, where someone will say something based on experience or personal observation and claim that to be fact in all cases. And then there's also cherry-picking data, where people only look at the data which supports their hypothesis, which will mean that they ignore everything else and potentially come to the wrong conclusion. Some other methods that you can use in order to come to your own conclusions are to examine the motives of who's saying a particular thing. If, for example, someone who is doing research paid for by tobacco companies announces that smoking is good for you, that may not be the most objective point to listen to. You should always verify your facts with another source. That's why all good scientific research is peer-reviewed. And even things like email scams, you can go to websites like snopes.com to see what other people think of and what research has been done to prove or disprove it. And it also is good to make sure that when you verify something like this, you don't go to someone else who's parroting the same source, because then it's not really a independent source, it's just the same source from a different parser. You should also look at all sides of the argument, not just people supporting your own viewpoint, and try and have an open mind when you do this, because it may be that someone else has got a very good point which you hadn't considered before. And to go hand in hand with this, it's very important that you understand what you're being told or what you are reading, because otherwise it's very, very difficult to decide what is right and what is wrong, or what is more relevant to you. And it's also very, very important not to make a decision until you've seen all the facts, because otherwise you're open to confirmation bias, where you look for things which support what you already know or think you know, and you tend to gloss over the rest of it. There was a study which I will try and dig out and link to, which showed that when someone was reading a piece of information that had an opposite viewpoint to them, they were more likely to take in the opposite points of view when it was formatted badly and difficult to read, because then they spent more time actually reading it and not just skimming over it. And also be open to new data. If something new comes along and it brings new information to the table, don't discount it just because it wasn't part of what you originally read. Be open to debating a point. If someone has an opposite viewpoint, it doesn't immediately make them wrong. So just have a discussion with them, see what they think, see what they can bring to the table. It may be that, again, they have a different viewpoint which gives you something that you didn't know before. And if you're debating someone, then you can't be afraid to admit that you're wrong, which is something that many people struggle with. It's something which I struggle with, but if you can't admit you're wrong, then you are just going to keep the same viewpoint, and it's no point doing any of the above. And that's all of them that I could think of for now. If anyone has any suggestions, leave them in the comments, make a video. If anyone thinks that something I've said is wrong, then feel free to point it out. And start a debate, start a discussion. Bye.